Take Philip Jose Farmer, A.E. Van Vogt, Robert Lynn Aspirin, Lynn Abbey, Janet Morris, David Drake, and Andrew J. Offut. Give them Sanctuary, one seedy town, the meanest, most dangerous in all the worlds of fantasy, plus the right to use, but not use up each other's characters, and a mighty will to outdo each other's stories. The result? Tales from the Vulgar Unicorn. From the Vulgar Unicorn is a shared world anthology from 1980. It is edited by Robert Aspirin and Lynn Abbey, though the original copies only say Aspirin's name. It is the sequel to Thieves World, and it is set in Thieves World in the same city of Sanctuary with a lot of the same characters. I recommend you go and read that one, though you really could start here, and I will just start out the same by I actually enjoyed this one better, though it does take place after the first one. It doesn't really matter, though, where you start. So we have a lot of stories here, so I'm just going to go over them pretty quickly here. We have the introduction, which I always assume are written by Aspirin. But it's One Thumb, who has been gone from the Vulgar Unicorn, which is a tavern, of course, and he's been gone longer than normal. And Hakim, the storyteller, tells us what he knows. And so then we have our first story, Philip Jose Farmer, Spiders of the Purple Mage. We have Masha Zil Enil, who is a midwife and rather poor, but grew up well-to-do as the daughter of an affluent man. She lives in the maze, supporting her mother and daughters, and her Sylvanly husband. She runs across a man who has robbed a terrible target and gets caught up in a potentially rewarding but also extremely dangerous game. It's dark and gritty, and Sanctuary is, in this case, seems a lot like Linkmar. I think that'd be a pretty good comparison here, and Linkmar being, of course, from the Fafnir Grey Master stories by Fritz Leiber. There is some good illusion magic, actually, which is cool, and then it's, honestly, this whole story was really stinking good. I loved Masha as a believable protagonist and hero as well. She's a pretty good one. And then we had the story Goddess by David Drake. Regley, I believe I'm remembering his name correctly. He seems a rich, pretty boy. His wife has been 2 days in labor and is still needing to give birth. She's attempted an abortion, though, and suicide isn't ruled out to achieve such ends. This one definitely felt Vancian, though Sanctuary generally has its own feel that is kinda, again, like Linkmar. It deals with demons and gods and goddesses to an extent. It also has magical armor, which is pretty cool stuff overall, and it's pretty awesome. Oh, and Sam Lore is really the main character. He's the brother of Sam Lane, Regley's wife. And then we have The Fruit of Inlabar, which I think is by Lynn Abbey, though I didn't mention that in my notes. It deals with enjoying exotic oranges, as well as the piece of a magical tablet, one of very, ancient creation, and it may hold a powerful secret, how to craft Inlabar steel. This involves Alira, the Sedonzo girl from the first book, in Abby's tale from the first book. And I love Abby's realistic characters in a relationship with the new man introduced to Sanctuary, Whalegrin, or Wallegrin, I'm not really sure how it's supposed to be said. And then we had The Dream of the Sorceress by E.E. Van Vogt. Yet again, the first time I've read anything by Vogt. Stolwig is a healer. He awakes in the night, either from a nightmare or a scream outside. It's unclear. In the morning, Alira shows up and tells him she had a dream about him. And she also needs some herbs for a few different things. In this bargaining, he tries to get Alira to sleep with him, instantly making the otherwise likable character unlikable. He's sort of an authentic magician, but isn't seen as one. He is involved in what seems to be some godly dispute, and it may have been what killed his father. This one kind of reminded me of Cook, Glenn Cook and his Black Company. Then we have Bashanka's Minion by Janet Morris, which is about the character Tempest. I love the atmosphere and setup for the story, and I believe Morris and her Tempest character are a favorite among Thieves World fans, and it's not hard to see. Tempest is very old. He has lived life in several professions, but now is in the Rankin god of Ashanka's service. He is his minion, hence the name Ashanka's minion, though he's barely in this service. He's also a hellhound, a guard-like character in service to Prince Catechithus, the new governor of Sanctuary, who was introduced in Book 1 as well. This one was so good that immediately after finishing it, I actually ordered several books by Janet Morris and have since read one of them. Anyways, so then we had Shadow's Pawn by Andrew Offut, who wrote about Shadow Spawn in the first anthology, which character appeared in the story before this one, actually. Gath the Thief is chasing a woman. He wants her bracelet that she received from the mysterious shop in the previous story, actually, which is also a cool magical shop. Kind of reminds me of Bazaar of the Bazaar by Liber. Anyways, it went as expected, but it was a satisfying thing to read. Still entertaining, and we get to see Tempest, so this is a sort of a sequel to the previous story. And then we have To Guard the Guardians by Robert Lynn Aspirin. It starts with Zalbar, a superior among the Hellhounds, trying to stop Razkuli from doing something stupid in his anger against Tempest. And again, I think Tempest here is a really good sword and sorcery protagonist, hitting all the check boxes, but being unique still. I think Morris herself could become a favorite author of mine, and I really enjoyed Drake and Vogt as well, and Farmer from reading the first time. Honestly, I think there's a lot of clever writing going on here, and while I didn't extremely love Thieves World, the first anthology, I really enjoyed Tales from the Vulgar Unicorn, really did. And I am hoping to read Book 3, Shadows of Sanctuary, very soon. And if you have not checked out Thieves World, this is like the ultimate shared world fantasy anthology. You just have to read it, basically. You're missing out if you haven't. So I will catch you next time. This has been Liam with Liam's Lyceum.